Welcome back to Roosevelt Live. This segment of the show, we're going to talk about something that happened several weeks ago, but it's just something that I've been thinking about and decided to speak on it today. There was a little 6-year-old girl in Georgia, at a little town about 18,000 people. I think it's about 90 miles outside of Atlanta. I forgot the name of the little town. And the little girl, apparently 6 years old, apparently threw a little tantrum in school. I guess she tore some posters off a wall, and she threw some books and threw some toys. Doesn't seem so bad, does it? She's 6. Was she being bad? Of course she was being bad. Should she been dealt with? Her parents should have been called and said, your daughter's being disrupted and you need to come down and you need to do something about it, because it's preventing the other children from learning at the pace they should learn at. And also, it's maybe showing them that they can get away with some of the same activity. That's what seemed like it should have been done to me. Instead, they called the police. Now, I can't imagine first of all, the police department, you would have things to do that are actually business, actually crimes that have been actually committed in the state of Georgia. And you might think, why are we talking about that if it's in the state of Georgia? Well, it's just a way the system is going. It sounds crazy. You arrest a 6-year-old girl, you handcuff a 6-year-old, and you put her in a squad car and you take her to the police station. I guess that don't make any sense to me. And then they tried to make a statement saying, well, it was for the safety of her and others. What exactly was a 6-year-old going to be able to do to others? What would she be able to do that warrant being arrested? What is the police department and the school board doing in Georgia, where they are wasting time bringing out police officers to a kindergarten, elementary school, whatever it is, to arrest a 6-year-old, to get the 6-year-old in handcuffs and put them in the car? That's just absurd. It makes no sense. It's stupid. No one can justify it. It's not justifiable. That's a non-crime. Tearing papers off a wall, throwing textbooks and some toys. Somebody might say, oh, well, you know what? She threw a toy. It can be considered a missile. I'm not. Hey, listen. At what rate of speed can she throw a toy? It's going to do what exactly? Somebody might say, well, it might hit you in the eye, put someone in the eye. Listen, we're not going to jump through loops and act a fool. She was a 6-year-old. There was no reason in the world for the police department to come there and arrest a 6-year-old. There's no crime. Where's the crime? It's just nonsense. Why is the school allowing that to happen? Why did the principal allow that to happen? For I'm concerned, the principal should be fired. Apparently the principal must have called. I assume the teacher didn't call. The teacher called. The teacher should be fired. You can't go. But that's the case. Are we calling the police when children are fighting now? Because it seems to me, if you can call the police as a 6-year-old tore some paper off the wall and threw some textbooks or whatever it was and threw some toys, then are we calling the police when children are fighting in school too? Are we going to have kids arrested for fighting? That's way more violent than that's what a 6-year-old can do. I mean, I saw one report where a 14-year-old was arrested because he inflated a condom in the classroom. I guess with water, blew it up or whatever. Was that silliness? Of course, does it warrant being arrested? Absolutely. What's the charge? I mean, what's the charges with some of this nonsense? You're going to arrest a 14-year-old for taking a condom and blowing it up. It's absolutely nonsense. It's stupid. And the school board, they need to be addressed. The city council needs to address, or whoever's in charge over in any of these states, whether it be Florida, Georgia, any of them, they all have crazy laws sometimes on the books, and it's utter nonsense. And I find it very depressing to know that the police department, whether it be in the state of Florida, state of Georgia, or any state, that will waste time coming to a school, an elementary school or a kindergarten, to arrest a 6-year-old, saying that, well, she wouldn't calm down, so we put the handcuffs on. I didn't even know the handcuffs would fit a 6-year-old. And that's just going to show up. Maybe they used those little plastic ties, I don't know. But I still think that was a terrible thing to do. The parents or parent should have been called. They'd come out to the school. They'd have a meeting with the principal or assistant principal, whomever it is, and perhaps the teacher. And let the parents know, yeah, they may have zero tolerance, but they didn't want to arrest anybody. Not under those circumstances. And let the parents know that, look, we're not going to tolerate this type of outburst in school. If your daughter can't be under control, or your son, whichever one it was, in this case it was a little girl, cannot control the way your kids are acting in school, then they have to be removed from the school perhaps. They have to be put in a different program perhaps. But to call the police seems absolutely ridiculous to me. I was floored when I read the article. I couldn't believe what I had seen, couldn't believe what I had read. couldn't believe that the amount of time we're wasting fooling out with silly things in school. It's just utter nonsense. I don't know, people. What is going on in this world? I saw a case like this not too long ago, maybe last year, I think. Something down the same similar lines of people arresting little children for throwing temper tantrums in school. And people seem to think this is okay. I don't know why this is okay. Then they wonder, then we seem to hold the smaller kids more responsible than we hold the adults. I mean, so now what? So if an adult goes to work and they throw a temper tantrum and they tear some papers off the wall and throw a couple of manuals around, is that grounds for an arrest? They're just going to get fired, obviously, perhaps more than likely. But unless they're refusing to leave the job for some reason, they probably won't get arrested for throwing some papers or whatever. I think we put too much pressure on children of that age, and I think that it's a negative, and I don't see where it's helping, and I don't understand why no one would do it. And I know that it's not the state of Florida, like I repeatedly said. It's the state of Georgia. Is it an issue? You never know what could happen here. If I look closely and do research, we probably have some similar cases here in Florida where people have called the police for what I consider absolutely no reason. When I think about the police coming out to arrest a 6-year-old, and I remember, even though that's in Georgia, this is in Florida, I remember when my vehicle was stolen from my home here in Florida several years back. When I called the police, they didn't come out, even though we're talking 2 different states, but they knew they had more important things to do. The car was stolen. Like the officer said, the car is not there at this point. So there's no sense of coming out to your residence if the car isn't at your residence. I disagreed with it at the time because I truly felt that you should come out anyway. Who knows, maybe they left the tools behind some fingerprints on, hey, and they were watching too much television. But the point is, they weren't willing to come out. They took the information over the phone. I got information from them, for my insurance company, and that was that. So my theory is that the police department, at least in Tampa, at least in my case anyway, felt that they didn't warrant coming out to my home for an actual grand theft. But yet, when I look over there in this, our little neighboring state of Georgia, and find out that the police department over there were coming forward to arrest a 6-year-old because she threw a temper tantrum in a kindergarten class. Now, we're not comparing the states. It sounds like I am, but I'm really not. I just find it somewhat depressing to know that schools, principals, school board, police department, I'm shocked the police department even came out to the elementary school in the first place. But then again, sometimes if it's 5th grade, you never know what might be going on, so you kind of have to go out there. But I would have think when the police got out there and saw there was a 6-year-old, that the police officer would have said to the school, why don't you just call the parents? Let the parents know what's going on. That's what you would have done if the kid got sick. That's what you would have done if the kid got injured. So why don't you call the parents and let them know what's going on with the kid? Even if the police was there, they should have said call the parents and let the parents know what's going on. Maybe the parents can come up to the school and handle this situation as we speak. I don't know, man. My son was in school, and I remember him being in school and doing silly things sometimes, and I would go to the school and resolve. If they called me and said, hey, your son is doing this, hey, I'll be right there. And I would go right there, right then. God only forbid it, my son was, hitting some kid and run around the classroom for some reason when he were in, 2nd and 3rd grade or whatever, and then also they call the police. I would be in shock. I would be outraged. Let's put it that way. Absolutely outraged. But, that's the state of Georgia. They have their own rules. They do what they want to do. State of Florida, we have our own rules. We do what we want to do. I have known people cars get stolen in the state of Florida, and police have come to their home. Some reason they didn't come to mind, but not here or there. But things happen all the time. Those are kind of weird behaviors that take place sometimes. But I would hope that, I'm glad that wasn't, I don't have a little kid, but if there was my kid, I would be outraged. I would be at the mayor's office. I would be wanting answers. I'll be at the police office, place I want to talk to the chief of police. I want answers. I will be at the school and talk to the principal. I want answers. I will go to the school board and talk to whoever's in charge of the school board. I want answers. I want to know why my child was being arrested at age 6 and handcuffed and taken in a police car. We waste police time they waste police time by going there. They waste police time by putting the kid in the car. So what they were going to do? Book them too? Did they book her too? What did they do? Because at some point, the little kid can't really make a phone call more than likely. So at some point, they had to call the parents. So why didn't they just call the parents in the first place? Go figure. Those are my opinions. I think that's abuse of the system, unnecessary use of the law, unnecessary force of the law, and taking police off the street where real crimes are being committed. And I'm sure that officers could be used on the street where there's real crime, because that wasn't a crime. The only crime was that they came out there and arrested a 6-year-old. Well, that's my opinion. You want to comment on that? Like I said, email me, liveroosevelt@gmail.com. You can YouTube, send me a comment on YouTube if you choose to, youtube.com/RooseveltLive. I'm your host, and I'm Roosevelt Live.